Hello everyone, and welcome to my first video here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be bringing you the story of the Darkin Saga Awakening, the first in a series of 3 Legends of Runeterra expansions focused around the Darkin. Now, for those of you not aware, Legends of Runeterra does a lot to expand the lore and universe of Runeterra. It does this through a combination of card art, flavor text, and in-game quotes.
Let us get going!
Brom, give me back my door.
Because of this, there's a decent bit of interpretation that needs to be done sometimes, since the stories aren't as explicit as normal. Now, before we begin, let me give you a quick refresher on the Darkin, straight from the pages of the League textbook itself, Realms of Runeterra. Bereft of purpose, and scarred by what they had endured in facing the void, many of the Ascended became twisted in body and mind, naming themselves Darkin, and raising hordes of mortal warriors to conquer the world. Eventually, the aspects who had inspired their creation were forced to intervene, imprisoning the Darkin within their own accursed weapons. Our story begins in the far-off land of Ionia, following Master Yi, the last surviving master of the ancient Ionian art of Wuju. Master Yi's mind drifted to the Darkin weapon. Ever since its discovery, he had been troubled by a terrible sense of foreboding. Some of his students had taken a keen interest, too keen, so he had the curved blades placed under guard deep within the temple. With some effort, he pushed those thoughts from his mind and continued his meditation. Passing on the teachings of Wuju was all that mattered, and Jun showed great promise. Master Yi's 2 students you see here are the aforementioned Jun, an incredibly talented and humble disciple.
Concentrate, Jun. See the spirit realm in your mind's eye.
I can feel it. It's vast and blinding.
And Ting, a skilled but arrogant Vastayan.
Patience, Ting. The mind must guide the tail, not the heart.
Does the wind stop to consider which direction to blow, Master?
Unfortunately, their peaceful days of training would not last, because Master Yi's sense of foreboding would prove to be warranted. The existence of the Darkin weapon was found by Cain and his cultist followers.
The shadows reveal a new Darkin weapon.
Then I will take it as well.
Cain is a master of shadow magic and a user of the Darkin weapon known as Rost. He believes himself to be powerful enough not only to wield Rost, but also this new Darkin weapon. The cultists invaded the temple and tried to steal the Darkin weapon. While Jun and the other disciples went to inform Yi, one of them took it upon himself to defend the temple. Ting grinned as the attackers flooded the temple. Finally, a chance to prove himself. First Wukong, then Yi, both had dismissed his talents. Let the others run to find their master. He was ready. He was the Shimon Wind. However, despite Ting's resistance, Cain and his cultist followers would breach the temple and engage Master Yi and the rest of the students.
Give me the Darkin weapon or succumb to shadow.
This path leads to a darkness beyond even your strength.
Cain was proving to be far stronger than the Wuju wielders were expecting, but then...
The rage, let it loose.
A fierce and sudden flash of anger overwhelmed Cain, and a terrible, searing pain passed behind his eyes, bringing him to his knees. Rost's triumphant laughter echoed all around him, mocking and merciless. He had known this day would come, the day where he would finally prevail, or lose himself to the Darkin. It's at this point in our story that it diverges into 2 paths, one where either Rost or Cain consumes the other. First, let's take a look at what happens when Rost wins.
Runeterra is mine to consume!
Rost let out a triumphant howl, years of waiting, yearning, and now he was finally free. He lifted Solani's blades and put them to his tongue, savoring the taste of fresh blood. He closed his eyes in bliss, and a smile crept across his face for the first time in millennia. The reaping had begun. Now, this is where Rost's victory ends, but to follow the Darkin saga and to learn more about this mysterious Solani, we have to see what happens when Kain wins.
I am Shadow!
Tremendous power flowed through his veins. Freed from the Darkin's influence, the full power of the shadows was his to command. Kain laughed, slipping into darkness, and emerged a moment later, only to silently slit the throat of the god before him. Kain's newfound power began to overwhelm Yi and his students, but being pushed too far, he unleashed the full strength of his Wuju.
Hope lives in the edge of my blade!
From the corner of his eye, Yi saw the flash of steel and heard the unmistakable thud of a lifeless body. Could it have been her? How could he have failed his pupils so utterly? They were untrained and unprepared. But he was a master of Wuju, and neither shame nor shadow would win the day. Unfortunately, Master Yi's strength alone could not turn the tide, and Jun was forced to make a terrible decision. As the fighting raged on, Jun, desperate and badly wounded, turned to the voice whispering in her thoughts. "You will never die," it said, soft as summer rain, "because I will never let you." Angry tears streamed down Jun's face as she surveyed the bodies littering the ground. She had failed them. She had failed her master, and now only one choice remained. As she took hold of the weapons, her humanity fled, and in its place, a hateful essence filled the emptying vessel that was once the student Jun. It washed through her, over her, around her, and out into the world, stirring the slumbering Darkin. Where the prodigy Jun once stood was the Darkin once trapped within the weapon, Zolani. Shurima's Ascended were doomed the moment they took up arms against the Void. This was an enemy that could never be beaten, and while the God Warriors were all but guaranteed immortality, their minds were never as resilient. Madness consumed them all. Solani, once a beloved and gifted healer, began using her hemomantic powers to control her brethren, and soon enough, the hatred between her and Aatrox boiled over into civil war. Now this is where the story of the Darkin saga ends for now, but it seems to be that Zolani seeks to finish the civil war between her and Aatrox that started so long ago, in the place familiar to all Darkin, the corrupted sands of Acathia. Hi, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I love getting to talk about the lore of Runeterra, so if you want to see more, please let me know. Now, before you go, here's a fun little lore fact for you. Zolani was actually teased earlier this year. She was the ascended matron host of the city of Zolan, the city where we see Kai'Sa and Talia get attacked by the Zersai in the Call cinematic. This giant statue that Talia drops right on top of Kai'Sa and Rek'Sai is actually a statue of Zolani back when she was an ascended. It's things like this that make me want to go all conspiracy theory on every single frame of every single cinematic, because you never know what tiny detail might be important down the line. If you want to see more of me, I got a video right here talking about my theories as to where the story is going and the champions we're going to see in the rest of the Darkin saga. Have a lore-filled day, everybody.